Welcome back to Integration. You're watching The Honest Corner, where we talk about the hot topics and ways to improve our lives. I love it. It's been so exciting to have these dynamic women in studio with me. Ramla is back, Idil is back, and Idil from the UK is back. And we're all going to be tackling important topics that, help us move forward and progress as a society, and more importantly, as an individual, because I truly believe you may not be able to change a culture, but you can change the people who can change the culture. So today's topic we're talking about is healthy relationships. So I know it's a hard topic, right? But honestly, healthy relationship. What is a healthy relationship?
With yourself or with others?
Well, I don't know. You could be in a relationship with yourself.
Well, no,
That's a good one.
that's a really good one, right?
I think healthy relationships are where both people or the other party and you are both getting what you need from it,
Yes.
right? Like that it's everybody's being supported, everybody, the communication is open, there are healthy boundaries, that respect is goes both ways. Yeah?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I agree. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
A healthy relationship is any relationship where you're in tune with, the person you are in that relationship with, in tune with yourself. And, it can be fun and it can be open and it can be intelligent and it can be so many very, very healthy things for you.
I love it. Idil Hassan, welcome back, our team psychologist in the house. So Idil, tell us, what is a healthy relationship definition?
A healthy relationship, I'll give you my own definition. My definition of a healthy relationship is one that is based on trust, honesty, love, and respect. And without those, relationships are, it's the life force for us. We don't exist in a vacuum, and we are connected to people, parents, families. Those who are isolated are, normally they suffer from depression due to the lack of connections that they have. So we have to make sure that we maintain our relationships so that we can live in harmony. So if we have to do that, then a healthy relationship is one where you give and take. So it's not a one-way street, as I like to say. It's based on, mutual exchange, mutual trust, understanding, and all of the things that I've said before. So that's my definition of a healthy relationship.
Many times I meet sisters that stay in what I call unhealthy relationships. Why do you think people choose to stay in relationships like that?
Fear. I think it's hard to fear of the unknown, hard to break from whatever relationship you're in because you could still love the person but it not be healthy for you, and you're afraid whether you have kids or whether it is marital or friendship, of being alone, of being
I
of the
hear
fear
so
of
many
the
people
unknown.
say all the time they stay because of the kids. But do you think it's more damaging when kids see?
A big
sure.
deterrent to having a healthy relationship with your children and with your spouse and with your friends is not having a healthy relationship with yourself, not loving yourself, not trusting that you'll be able to do things for yourself, not being whole and one with yourself. Because if you cannot, have a healthy relationship with yourself first, you can't provide other people with the healthy and stable relationship that they need from you, right?
Very true.
What were you going to add, Idil?
No, I think you said that perfectly.
Absolutely.
I think you can model for your kids and be in an unhealthy relationships
Or
because
for other
kids
people as well, right?
And kids see that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're the first example, right? So it's not do as I say, it's do as I do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And other people feed off of your energy. You know how there's this saying that goes, my character is who I am, or my personality is who I am, my character is based on how you treat me. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that other people feed off of the energy that you give them. So having kind of a foundation and a healthy foundation for yourself first will allow you to choose right from wrong, not only for yourself, but also for your children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And part of that is, I think, setting boundaries. Idil, can you tell us about what boundaries are?
Boundaries are, the ones that you set for yourself, and also it's like this invisible line where you are setting your own boundaries, where you are living again with integrity. I like to use that word, but it's more of a, you are not crossing over and giving more than you should, and you're not expecting to receive more than that you want to. But it's with your spouse, you set boundaries based on where that line is. Should they cross that line, then they've crossed their boundaries. But it's something that is healthy, that maintains the relationship, and again maintains the harmony of with yourself and those around you. When you know how people should treat you as a person, then they know, you've set your boundaries there, but people fail to set those standards and those boundaries. And sometimes we set boundaries, but we don't keep it ourselves. We cross it ourselves. So how are other people supposed to know how to treat you if you keep crossing your own boundaries? So it's a mixture of a lot of misinformation, but boundaries are there. We have laws in every country where people are, without laws it would be chaos. And I think boundaries is what keeps life, in relationships, whether it's with your husband, your parents, your siblings. Everyone knows where they stand, and you know where you stand yourself. So boundaries are really important, and especially with kids, again, they have to know what the boundaries are, otherwise they get out of hand. So it feeds into the parenting side.
Could you give us examples, like some stuff that you hear in our community regards to unhealthy relationships?
Unhealthy relationships. So a lot of the unhealthy relationships are, the ones where a lot of women, based on their own insecurities, that they stay in relationships that they're too afraid to leave because they don't know whether they can, be able to. Say, for example, I had somebody who was in an abusive relationship, and it was very difficult for her to see the light, because she had kids and everything. So it's difficult for them to have that confidence that they can, build a life or even raise children without fathers. But because that's not how a lot of us were brought up in our society, it's difficult to leave the relationship. And in a lot of cases we have parents or elders that encourage you to do it for the kids, like you said it earlier, and also because men and women a marriage, and when you're raising children you're supposed to have a mother and a father. It's not okay for the woman to say no. But yet again, you still have to put up with the violence, and it's not always domestic violence, it's not physical violence. There's all these psychological abuse that a lot of women go through, especially ones who are more successful than their husbands, where the husband becomes resentful because of her success, the wife's success, and therefore he tries to do quite a lot of things to sabotage her, really. And I've had a lot of women from our society who deal with a lot of jealous husbands who are jealous of their success, and because of that it's difficult to should they leave because of that, or should they try and work it out. But it just depends on the level of whether it's abuse or not. But there's there are some things that you can work out with your husband, and take him with you. If you're rising up, take him with you and teach him what you and encourage him to see beyond just your success, and maybe he can focus on his own success. So it's good to encourage people to work together, but yet again I have seen a lot of women dealing with bad relationships where they have to stay for the sake of either children or with for society's sake as well. You know, the name divorcee.
Society's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wichiga dukekala, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. It's because, you know, if you're a divorcee, it's the name, you know, oh, am I going to be a divorcee? How am I going to raise my children? It's like this stigma around, not so much these days, but before there was, you know, a lot that older generation female had to deal with, that they had to go through in order
Absolutely.
to
Absolutely
maintain
right.
that.
Well, I always have this saying that says, when you achieve something, pay attention to who doesn't clap.
Yes.
So
The supporters disappear.
the supporters, or even like your spouse, you know, because these are such important times in life that everybody's responsibility to learn relationship skills, you know, because it's not just about now, I don't know. There's so much information out there. Wouldn't you agree at all?
It's more complicated. Like, relationships are complicated. There's always things you're dealing with. But I just want to go back to the boundaries, because for me, I've learned a lot about boundaries this year and setting them. And it's like your non-negotiables. What is like, so you don't develop resentments, right? So if you let the person know what you're not willing to, like, for them to go over, or like, this is my line, these are the things that are important to me. If we're not meeting those, then we're gonna have some problems, right? And I found when I spoke up, instead of like holding things in and then just sort of like pulling out this
Lashing
scroll and saying, well, you did this, instead of doing that, letting the person know, these are my boundaries, please, like, this is the way you're going to show me respect, and they appreciate it. I think people want to know what you need from them so they can, you know, everybody wants a healthy relationship, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, so I found that really worked for me. But
What happens when you give people guidelines for boundaries and they still keep crossing them?
well, then
I mean, how many chances do you give people?
I think, first of all, you have to be firm and call them on it and say, whether it's like the kids or the like spouse or friends, you need to say, hey, listen, this is, you know, remember we talked about this. This is a non-negotiable. Please, if you're not willing to meet these boundaries, then we can't be in a relationship. Not so much your kids, but like the actual friends, even with your spouse, because they want to be in a healthy relationship with you, right? So in order for me to give you what you need from me, this is what I need from you.
Absolutely. What do you think, Ramla?
I feel like problems and miscommunications and misunderstandings are a natural part of life, and it just depends on, again, the non-negotiables. You know, there's a list of things that, you know, you wouldn't like done to you. How high on the priority list is what this person has crossed. So you just have to pick and choose your battles, just like everything else. And with every healthy relationship, with your boss, with your friend, with your spouse, with your parents, you just have to pick and choose which ones are worthy of fighting and which ones you just need to let go of.
Absolutely. So we're talking about boundaries and healthy relationships. Idil Hassan, all the way from UK, is still with us. Idil, you are basically saying that in our community, a lot of what I found it very interesting what you said is that a lot of people stay because of what society thinks of them. But isn't it more valuable what you think of yourself?
Absolutely, I agree with that. It's more, if we listen to our own beliefs and what we feel that it's right for us, then, you know, we'd be a lot happier. But that's not the case in our culture, because what you do and the actions you take as an individual impacts on, you know, your family and so much more. And that's what you're told, that if you do certain actions, you know, if you want to get away from, you know, an abusive marriage, you know, you're going to put like a given name to our family or something along those lines. And not everyone is the same. I'm not saying all Somalis are the same. It's only a fraction. But at the same time, it's difficult to separate when your culture, defines who you are to a certain extent, not completely, but to a certain extent. It's difficult to say that, to do certain things because you want to. You always have to consider other people, and that's what we've been brought up. And
but are we marrying the village still? I mean, we live in big cities now. We have our own places. Are we marrying the village still?
I think for
I
the
mean,
most part,
it's-
Somalis
it
have
just-
evolved.
They have evolved, but there's
think
a
so.
spectrum, right?
Of
And,
course,
yeah.
but with every culture there is as well, you know. I don't think Somalis are an anomaly by any stretch of the imagination. You know, there's you know, the Arab culture and the Indian culture, and there's West African cultures, and you know,
What I mean is that why is there such shame when women set boundaries for themselves in relationships?
Because it used to be a
patriarchal, yeah.
society, and so moving away from that, a lot of these
Difficult
women
to
had
really
to
relinquish control.
yeah, exactly, and this is how they were judged. So for you to, like, they're not like their mothers were.
Yeah.
They've evolved from that, and we've evolved from how they were, and our kids are going to be different. But like every time you have to break certain boundaries, or you have
One
to make
barrier at a time, right?
Yeah, when those barriers are being like pushed, you're going to get some pushback.
Some kickback. Absolutely. Very good.
Absolutely. Well, it's been enlightening. Thank you, Idil, all the way from UK, joining us on Skype. Today, we've been talking about healthy relationships. This is the Honest Corner, where we bring you topics that really matter. You're watching Integration.